Welcome back to Afternoon Express. In this series of chats with DirectAxis, we've talked about why your credit score is important and the myths about blacklisting and what you can do to take control of your credit profile and life. And today we'll discuss why it's a good idea to regularly check your credit rating. It's time well spent and it can save you money. Welcome back.
Good to be back.
Jacob. Yeah. So for anyone out there who has never checked their credit rating, right? And it's something they feel like they can chuck to the back of their minds. Why is that not a positive thing?
Well, you know, the way to look at it is this. When you want to take out credit, someone has to make a decision to grant it to you. And they need to do it on information and trust that you'll be able to pay their money back. And the way they do that is they, one, ask you for information, like who you are, how much you earn, but they also need to verify that from a third party. That's why they'll always ask your salary slip and your bank statements, so they can double check that. A credit record is something that gets recorded and then generates your credit score and credit rating by these bureaus. And then these bureaus collect the information in the background, and then the creditors can tap into those and make a decision about you. Right. So at any point in time, someone is using that information to grant you credit. And by you knowing it, you're seeing how others see you, and that empowers you because you know up front what you can get.
Yeah. And how often should you check your credit rating? And does it affect you negatively if you're always checking it or checking it too often?
I'll ask them two parts. The first one, you should check I think, about every month, because what tends to happen is that this information every month, that's when it changes. Sometimes you can go a few months and skip, but generally I advise you check every month. The reason for this is because the bureaus get submitted information throughout the month. And as you pay back something month by month, then you get new information, and the new information can impact the score. So it gets refreshed once a month, so it's good to check. A little bit more often if you're applying for credit, so you can see if inquiries have been done against your name. That means someone has checked what your credit score is, and you can see who's doing that.
All right. Is anyone allowed to check your credit rating? Or do they have to be an authorized institution or financial institution?
Authorized
institution. Do they have to apply?
Yes. Authorized institution can check. They have to be able to access that. No one else can see that, which is why when you access yours, they have to verify that you are you. It's such personal information that only you have to access it. So it's not just anybody that can see it. And normally institutions ask for your permission. So that's why they always sign, can we have permission to see your rating? It's because it's such private information that people need your consent.
Yeah. And how often do South Africans in general check their credit rating? Are we good at it? Are we bad on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I'll start with, you know what percentage do? No, not many. 5% check. Yeah, so it's not a lot of people who know, but a lot of people are affected by it. So what we're trying to do is build a practice of making it part of your life, a habit, getting used to it, being comfortable with it. And as people grow more comfortable with it, it can serve them better.
Yeah.
We've got a long way to go.
Absolutely, we definitely do. I mean, not only does it sound like it's a great tool to get you to being financially fit, but how can you avoid scams?
Oh, that's actually the way it comes in handy, because what Pulse does is it allows you to see who's done inquiries against your name. So, for example, if someone has stolen your identity, they will have to apply on your ID number, and that gets recorded at the bureau. So if you're checking your credit score monthly, you can see who's done inquiries against your name. And inquiries generally affect your credit score because it shows that you're getting more credit. And this can then impact you in a way that you didn't expect, especially if you didn't consciously do it and then someone else is doing it on your name. So the best way to catch scams before they get out of hand and you find yourself in debt that you didn't go into is to rely on things like credit checks.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing that I've always thought was just grossly unfair is just the feeling that an institution, if you have a dispute with them, can blacklist you even if you're not in the wrong. And it feels like they have the upper hand somehow.
I think I would always stress that people shouldn't feel that way. And what we normally define as blacklisting is a catch-all phrase for generally when your score isn't as good as it should be, whether it's negative or there's a judgment against it. And when you're with a creditor, when you have a relationship with a creditor and you don't pay them, they have to first take steps to make sure they inform you that you've defaulted before they record you against the bureau.
Right, yeah.
So what Pulse does and products like it is that they empower you to know that, oh, I see a default on my name. This affects my score negatively. You can call them and say, you didn't warn me this was going to happen, or give me an opportunity to rectify. So by checking, you're actually empowered to prevent things like that, where you find yourself what they term blacklisted, and you can't get credit. So it gives you the power back.
Yeah. Well, DirectAxis Pulse sounds like a very empowering tool, and we should all get on it.
That's our aim of creating it, to empower people so that they can have a healthier relationship with credit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks, Bonnie. Good to be back.
So, well, if those aren't good reasons to check your credit score, then I don't know what are. Take charge of your credit score with Pulse from DirectAxis.
Registering for Pulse is free and easy. Visit directaccess.co.za/Pulse today.